you shake your head at and you can't believe it exists. Round number 10. Who will be shaking their head when they hear the judges' scores? Good left hand by Lamont Peterson, coming out more the aggressor here in this 10th round than we saw in round number 9. Let's look at Teddy's updated scorecard. Last round goes to Cayo, first in a while, 88-84. Peterson, says Teddy. Clearly working more here to start this 10th round. Right hand to the body, comes back with a left hook, then a right uppercut. Good left hook that time, as Cayo took a step back.
And again, maybe Peterson gets the knockout. The main thing is get the win, and he hasn't gotten that yet. But I think if Peterson was more consistent from the early rounds with this pressure, maybe he's got Cayo a little more worn. A little bit more worn down at this point. You know, that body work, that constant pressure, it's like taking a CD out in the bank. You know, it's investing money, and it grows with interest. That pressure and body work gives you the payoff, the interest, so to speak, late in the fight. Then you can cash out. Peterson feels that he's ahead. Otherwise, why would he be showboating a little bit?
You gotta work, son.
Two left hands to that belt line.
Talked about Peterson being 3-0-1 in Vegas. Cayo 0-1 in this city.
That was, of course, fights in Maidana.
Yeah, Cayo most fights in St. Dominican Republic, 20-0 there, 6-1 outside of there. There's some good body work. See, I like the way Peterson changing those punches. He's going outside the elbow and then inside with the solar plex, with the uppercut inside. And that's what you got to do. The elbow's outside the block, turn your punch inside. Little warning there for the forearm.
Yeah, what Peterson was doing was using that forearm on the inside to create a little space and then coming with the right hand. And Kenny Bayless picked up on it. Round number 11 in this IBF title eliminator. Lamont Peterson hearing from his trainer, Barry Hunter, to keep the pressure on. Don't let Cayo think that he can steal this fight. Peterson seemingly in control of the middle rounds, but Cayo very game, always throwing, always thinking he's got a chance and can hang on the inside, but Peterson physically superior, it appears, tonight. 2 rounds to go. The right hand to the belt line of Cayo. Remember, Cayo was taken out with a body shot in his lone loss of his career.
We're talking about this beautiful hotel and the chandeliers and everything else. The CEO here is John Unwin. Does a terrific job of not only having this place beautiful for everybody to come in and have a good time, but making sure that they're putting on boxing here. He's a boxing fan. He wants to bring back more boxing in Vegas. The last few years hasn't been quite as much, and now there is. And the Cosmopolitan is taking the front step with that a little bit.
You know, Teddy, it's funny you say that because the place just opened up this winter. It's the talk of the Vegas Strip. They've had 3 fight cards on our air here. Carlos Molina was featured on 2 of them. The fight against Arislan Lara, then he comes back with a win. He goes on, uses this showcase as a launching pad to get his big win over Cintron. Lara goes on to the bounce back win, and now here we are with this fight where the winner tonight will go on and launch themselves towards a potential title shot against Amir Khan. So for this level of the sport, what the Cosmopolitan is doing, it's working. It's working for the fighters.
It is.
And you got a big crowd in here to watch 2 guys who they will clearly see down the road in a significant fight. The winner of this fight will be.
And it's working for us. We're putting on good, solid, interesting fights, and fights that mean something. Mean something in the sport, something in the fighters' respective divisions.
This is one of those moments that we talk about with Peterson, the offensive lull. Let's see what he offers up here in the last minute of 11. 98-93 on Teddy's scorecard. And how will he finish things up here as Cayo tries to chop down with the right hand.
You know, we talked about earlier, talking about the Sam Judah disappointing fight. I think from what I heard, was hasn't been talked about, what was also disappointing with that fight was the ticket sales. I heard that they had to paper that show a little bit. Not a lot of actual sales at the box office. Right now, plenty of sales with punches on the inside here. With Cayo getting a little bit of the worst of it again with the stronger Peterson imposing himself a little bit.
Let's show you the punch of the night, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. We'll take you back to Jordanis Despain's win against Edison Miranda. 4th round. Watch Despain land the punches and watch Miranda's reaction. That fight would end by disqualification. Excessive low blows by Miranda. Despain moves his mark to 9-1. And now let's listen into the final instructions. Barry Hunter, Lamont Peterson.
Slow your breathing now.
Last and final round. Touch gloves.
Thank you. You understand me?
Let me get a towel so we get that ice water on the floor.
Here. Cayo.
And Victor Cayo, as desperation time arrived with the 12th round upon us. Sharp and accurate evening of punching from Lamont Peterson.
Touch up, fellas.
Good solid effort from Victor Cayo. But unless these ringside judges' scorecards stray very far from how most observers are seeing this fight, Lamont Peterson could be closing in on being a mandatory #1 contender in the IBF.
You know, it's a funny thing. We had our first fight ended in disqualification for low blows. Both these fighters have, not tonight though, have been penalized for low blows in their careers.
Peterson stalking, looking for another right hand.
Well, there's those right hands we talked about.
There it is.
And they're there. You close the gap with a guy with his hands down.
Can he close the show here, Teddy?
You're going to find the right hand. And then you can find the body when you trap him against the ropes.
Lamont Peterson wants to finish this thing off in spectacular fashion. Can he get to Cayo?
You just cannot keep the ocean from coming in. And it's crashing in.
Swung for the fences that time.
Yeah, that was a big wave. But that was a wave that Cayo was able to ride. Sword coming. To me, all night long, the only thing that Peterson needed was behind the jab, nice and steady pressure with a guy who's very game, very quick on the outside, but not strong enough for you on the inside.
Comes back with a right hand to the body.
See, that was one of those traps. That right hand to the body, he was waiting for something from Cayo. He pulled his shoulder back. He allowed it to come, created a little gap, and then filled the gap. A little swelling under the right eye of Peterson, but it's not going to matter now.
Left hook finishes it off. Cayo's hands down, shakes his head. You know he was effective. Peterson comes forward. Cayo against the rope, tries to land that right hand, trying to split the guard, then gets around the left hand with a thudding shot.
Cayo's hurt.
He is hurt.
Yeah,
There's a body shot.
He's hurt.
Half a minute to try to survive Lamont Peterson's attack. Body shot comes in, big right hand, and he takes a knee. Cayo goes down here in the 12th.
9. That's it.
That is it. too much.
You know,
Lamont Peterson.
Now that, I don't think, a lot of times you think maybe a guy quit, he heard the count, and he stayed there, but he took a lot of punishment. There was no quitting Cayo. I think he was disoriented. I think that he kept saying to the referee every time he got hurt with the right hand, he was getting hurt with a lot of right hands. The right hands were there for Peterson, and Peterson knew it. He kept saying, Cayo, that I'm getting hit behind the neck, behind the head, like he had been earlier in the night. And he wasn't getting hit behind the neck, but he was disoriented. He was hurt, and he wasn't sure where he was getting hurt.
Just worn down.
Hey, we gonna have that title before y'all get here.
Lamont Peterson, a knockout victory in the 12th round of this critical fight in his career.
Again, that steady pressure of Peterson early in the round, closing the gap with the jab, using the right hand over and over again. And then the end of the fight, well, the right hand set it up. He's got Cayo where he doesn't belong on the inside. And there, see what I mean? Cayo's saying it's behind the neck, it's behind the neck. Not behind the neck, but again, I think Cayo took so much punishment, a little disoriented.
It was the accumulation, the whole night, and then the pressure that was applied in both round 11 and round 12. And Barry Hunter gave Lamont Peterson very good advice the last few rounds. He said, I want every round to look that way. When the pressure started to be applied, he wanted it to keep going in that direction. He did, and this was the result that they got. For the official particulars, we send it up to the ring to Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, here is the official time. 2 minutes, 46 seconds of round number 12. Our referee in charge, Kenny Bayless, reaches the count of 10. Your winner by way of knockout, Lamont Peterson.
Remember, Lamont Peterson had the chance to fight Amir Khan this past year. Didn't like the contract language. Now, he's a mandatory challenger. Things will be in his favor. We will see if that's the career direction for Amir Khan. Will Lamont Peterson be next? Moves his way up in the rankings tonight with a knockout victory over Victor Cayo. Good-looking night from Peterson. Let's send it back to the Friday Night Fight studios and the coach.
All right, Joe, coming up top of the hour, Maria Sharapova, Serena Williams, Bank of the West Classics, coming 11 Eastern. We'll be back to wrap things up after this on Friday Night Fights. Be sure to join us next Friday, August 5th, right here on ESPN2 and ESPN 3D for Friday Night Fights. The main event, talented up-and-coming junior welterweight contender Tim Coleman, Vernon Harris in a 10-round fight. The Mayweather brothers will be in the respective corners. Coming up next, women's tennis, the Bank of the West Classic, Maria Sharapova, Serena Williams, live from Palo Alto, California. I'm Jonathan Coach. We'll see you next Friday right here on Friday Night Fights. Take care.